Good morning, sixth graders. Today is lesson 75, writing fractions and decimals as percents. Okay, so that's your new concept for today. All right, let me do several examples with you to get you started to help you with your lesson practice. If we have 300ths, that would be the same as 3%. Because when you write a percent, it's like that number over 100. So 3% is equal to 300ths. It's just written in a different way. Okay, here we have 3/10. Now, before we can write that one as a percent, we have to get a denominator of 100. Because as we look back up here, this was 3%. It was 3 out of 100. Okay, so now 3/10, we've got to make that as a fraction with a denominator of 100 before we can write it as a percent. So 10 times what number is 100? Okay, so we know 10 times 10 is 100. So if that got multiplied by 10, this has to get multiplied by 10. So 3 times 10 is 30. Now we have 30 hundredths. So that would equal 30%. Okay, so the important thing to remember here is that you have to have a denominator of 100, and when you get that, then your top number is your percent. Okay, now decimals. Remember your place value. This is tenths, hundredths. Okay, so we could write this as 12 hundredths. And then as a percent, since the denominator is 100, the top number is your percent, 12%. Okay? Now, this one's a little bit different. This is 8/10. Okay? 8/10. So that doesn't have a denominator of 100 yet. So we can make that into a fraction with a denominator of 100. 10 times 10 is 100. 8 times 10 would be 80. So that would be 80%. Okay? Now let me get our book. I'm going to give you a story problem. Okay, this is actually in your book. If when you're watching this you'd like to follow along, it's on page 402 and it's example 3. It says, of the 30 people in the pool, 15 swam laps. What percent of the people swam laps? Okay, well, 15 out of 30 swam laps. Okay, and now they're wanting you to change that to a percent. Okay, first thing we're going to have to do here is reduce this fraction first. So if we reduce it, again, use your divisibility rules, okay, or think of the highest number you can divide both of these by. And I'm going to divide them by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay, I use divisibility rules. So now I can reduce it again. Okay, so it would, this time I would divide them by 3. So that would equal 1/2. Now, some of you are thinking, well, I knew a higher number, which that's good. I was just kind of going by your divisibility rules, but some of you probably noticed you could divide both 15 and 30 by the number 15 itself. And if you did it that way, you ended up getting 1/2 the first time, okay? Either way is okay, whichever way is going to be easier for you. Okay, now we can take 1/2 and we can make that into a fraction that has a denominator of 100, okay? 2 times 50 is 100. You say, well, how did you know that, Miss Thompson? I wouldn't know that. Well, what you can do is take 100 and divide it by 2. You know, do that to the side. And if you divide correctly, you'll get 50, okay? So 2 times 50 is 100. So 1 times 50 is 50. Now we have the denominator as 100, so our top number is our percent. Okay? All right, that's today's lesson. When you do your lesson practice, if you'd like to email me your answers for lesson practice for me to check them, I'd be glad to do that today. Um, and if you have questions, maybe you need to watch this again. A lot of concepts here and some different things for you to learn today. Okay? Do your very best. Have a great day.